Hello everybody, welcome to this next video on linear algebra. In the last video we defined what is a diagonalizable linear operator. So in this video we are going to give you an algorithm. We are going to discuss an algorithm which will help us in checking if the given linear operator is diagonalizable or not. So you see we saw that in the last video that T from V to V is diagonalizable if and only if there is a basis B of V consisting only of eigenvectors of T. So on the basis of this result, we are going to jot down an algorithm for finding whether a given linear operator is diagonalizable or not. So step 1 will be, because we will be computing the eigenvalues and eigenvectors of the corresponding matrix. So given T, find the matrix representation of T with respect to any basis of V. We saw that we can use any basis that will not impact our eigenvalues, but we generally consider standard basis here because that is easy. Generally consider standard basis here. Fine. And then call this matrix as A. Step 2 is you write the characteristic equation for A. Characteristic equation for A is determinant of A minus lambda equal to 0. Solve it for lambda. Right. Okay, fine. Now suppose you get lambda 1, lambda 2, and suppose this is your n dimensional vector space. Right. So here this will be a polynomial of degree n. Right. Now it depends that which field you are in. If your vector space is over the field of complex numbers, if your vector space is over the field of complex numbers, because we know that complex numbers are algebraically closed, then for sure you will get n roots which may be same or distinct, repeated or distinct. Same means some of the roots may repeat, right? And if your vector space is over field of real numbers, then you will get, right, we don't know, from 0, it may be possible there is no root. So roots less than is equal to n. So it is possible that there is no root, it is possible that there is one root. For example, if your polynomial looks like say x square plus 1 equal to 0, so no real root, right? So if your polynomial say looks like x minus 1, x square plus 1 equal to 0, so although this is a polynomial of degree 3, but there is only one real root. So say from this, solving this equation, you get the roots, say lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda s, right? So this may be equal to n, s may be equal to n, depending on what type of polynomial you get and what field you are working on. Fine. Now step 3 is corresponding to each eigenvalue, lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda s, you find out eigenvectors, right? So we are sure here that if corresponding to different eigenvectors, we'll prove later on that you will get linearly independent corresponding to different eigenvalues, you will get different linearly independent eigenvectors. But let us forget that. What we are saying here is corresponding to each eigenvalue you find out eigenvectors, and now you have a collection of eigenvectors. If from here you have n linearly independent eigenvectors, then this is you form a basis with it, then your T is diagonalizable, otherwise not. Is that thing clear? Fine. Now I'll tell you that, okay, now how we will get the diagonal representation. So let us see that also, that how we are going to get the diagonal representation. So this is the algorithm that you will follow. You'll start with first of all you are given T, so you will find the matrix representation of T. Sometimes you will be given A itself in the question. Then you will write the characteristic equation for A. Then you will find the roots of this characteristic equation. Then corresponding to each eigenvalue you will find out the eigenvectors. Here if you have n linearly independent eigenvectors, then you will say that your T is diagonalizable, otherwise not. Fine. Now the next question is, so you have a vector A which is representation of T with respect to standard basis, and suppose you find v1 v2 vn be a basis of V with consisting of eigenvectors only. So this is the case when T is diagonalizable. So here we are saying that, next question we are saying that if T is diagonalizable, right, so then how do we find the diagonal representation of T? Fine. So now you have T with respect to the standard basis is the representation of T with respect to standard basis is A, and you have a basis beta, right? Now we have, suppose you take R3. Suppose for the sake of simplicity we are talking about R3. So here we have three vectors. V1, let us call it as A1 V1 C1. V2, this is A2 B2 C2, and V3 you call it as A3 B3 C3. Right. Now what will be the change of basis matrix? What will be the change of basis matrix from this beta to standard basis? So you see this beta is V1 V2 V3, and your standard basis is E1 E2 E3. Then you can clearly see that you have to write V1 as linear combination of this. So this is A1 E1 plus A2 E2 plus A3 E3, and then B2 is A2 E1 plus, sorry, here we have B1, here you have C1, the first element. Then the second element you can write it as A2 E2 B2 E2 plus C2 E3, and then the third element you can write as A3 E1 plus B3 E2 plus C3 E3. So it means that change of basis matrix from standard basis to beta is this A1 B1 C1 and this A2 B2 C2, A3 B3 C3, which is nothing but these vectors written as columns. So this matrix is nothing but eigenvectors written as columns. So if you call this matrix as P, so whenever you get a basis, so I am saying that whenever you get a basis beta u1 u2 un consisting of eigenvectors only, eigenvectors of T only, then right, this is true for actually any basis, but we are talking about because we will talk about diagonalization. Then this matrix P, which is u1 column, u2 column, u3 column, un column, is change of basis matrix from beta to standard basis. Then we know that, and hence P inverse will be change of basis matrix from standard basis to beta. We know that if you have a basis change of basis matrix from beta 1 to beta 2, then from beta 2 to beta 1 is inverse of that one. So we have this particular situation that you had T from V to V, and you had standard basis here, and your representation with respect to this basis is A, right? And then you change your basis to beta, right? And this change of basis matrix here is P inverse, right? Now you know the relation. That what is the relation? That T beta beta, which is going to be a diagonal matrix, is P, this change of basis matrix here is P inverse into A into P inverse. So you get P inverse AP. Why? Because we know that suppose you have T from V to V, there is a basis beta 1, there is a basis beta 2, there is a change of basis matrix, then matrix representation of T with respect to beta 2 is Q into matrix representation of T with respect to beta 1 into Q inverse. This is the result we have. Now here you see, instead of beta 1 you have the standard basis, and instead of beta 2 you have beta, right? And this matrix Q is P inverse. So here you have Q and then you have Q inverse, that will give you P. So this is the relation, right? Now if you want to know what will be the elements on the diagonal, then it is obvious that you should know if lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda s are the eigenvalues, right? Then obviously they should be repeated. The total should be n, otherwise your matrix can never be diagonalizable. Total should be n, right? So then they may be repeated, but the total should be n. Then if v1 is the eigenvector corresponding to lambda 1, and suppose v2 is an eigenvector corresponding to lambda 2, then T of v1 will be lambda 1 v1, T of v2 will be lambda 2 v2, and so on. T of v, I am assuming that there are n eigenvalues, and they may repeat also, like some of them will repeat. Then the matrix representation will be lambda 1 0 0 0, lambda 2 0 0 0, lambda n 0 0 0 above. So on the diagonal element you will get, eigenvalues, right? So on the diagonal you will get eigenvalues, right? So this thing is important, you should note it, right? So let us do one example. So using this algorithm, I am asking you, that question is diagonalize T from R2 to R2 whose matrix representation with respect to standard basis is 4 3 2 minus 1. Okay, so step here already you are given the matrix, right? So you will find out the eigenvalues. For that you have, this is your matrix A. So A minus lambda I determinant equal to 0. That will give you 4 minus lambda 2 3 minus 1 minus lambda determinant equal to 0. So from here you will get, you just find out, you will get 1 plus lambda minus 4 minus 6 is equal to 0. So this is lambda square minus 3 lambda minus 4 minus 6 is equal to 0. So lambda square minus 3 lambda minus 10 equal to 0. Now you can make the factors, lambda minus 5, lambda plus 2 equal to 0. So you have lambda is equal to 5 minus 2. So these are the two distinct eigenvalues. Fine. Now for lambda is equal to 5, for lambda equal to 5, right? So let us find out the eigenvectors. So you'll get, you put lambda is equal to 5 here, you'll get 4 minus 5, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 5 into xy. These are the eigenvectors equal to 0, 0, because eigenvectors will be solution of this equation, right? Okay, so here you'll get minus 1, 2, 3 minus 6 xy is equal to 0, 0. So you'll get minus x plus 2y equal to 0. So you'll get x is equal to 2y. So your eigenvector looks like xy is 2y comma y. So this looks like y into 2 comma 1. So these are all the eigenvectors where y can be any real number. So one particular eigenvector we get is 2 comma 1. Now for lambda is equal to, another eigenvalue is minus 2. So minus 2, you put lambda is equal to minus 2 here. So you'll get 4 minus minus 2, and then you have 2 here, 3 here. And then you have this 2 here, you'll put minus 2 here. So you will have minus 1 minus minus 2 into xy is equal to 0, 0. So you will get 6 here, 2, 3, and here you will get plus 2 minus 1, 1. Xy is equal to 0, 0. So from here you get 3x plus y is equal to 0. So y is equal to minus 3x. So your eigenvector looks like x is x, y is minus 3x. So this is x into 1 minus 3. So these are the all eigenvectors. So you see this eigenvector and this eigenvector is visible here. So let us check if these two are linearly independent. So later on we'll prove a result that eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues, they are always linearly independent. So you can skip that part. So let me write down eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues are always linearly independent, right? We'll prove it later on. So we know that this vector and this vector, they are linearly independent vectors. So we get a basis which is 2 comma 1, 1 comma minus 3. So if anybody doesn't want to use this result, you can just verify. You already know how to check linearly independent thing, right? Is a basis of V consisting of eigenvectors of T, right? Therefore T is diagonalizable because we have a basis which is of eigenvectors, right? Now the question is, what is T beta beta? So that you can do from basics also, or that is P inverse AP, where P is the columns, just the columns 2 1. P is your 2 1. Your first matrix is 2 1, and then the second matrix here is 1 minus 3. Second vector, first vector is 2 1 and the second vector is 1 minus 3, right? So let us find out P inverse. So you know for a 2 cross 2 matrix how to find out inverse. So you'll just divide the determinant here is minus 7, minus 6, minus 1, minus 7. Then you will just replace these two with minus 3 and 2, and here you'll put negative signs. So this is your P inverse. Now you can check P inverse AP will be minus 1 by 7, minus 3, minus 1, minus 1, 2. A is the initial matrix we started with, and then you have 2, 1, 1 minus 3. You multiply it, ultimately you will get this 5, 0, 0, minus 2. You see there are the eigenvalues. You see 5 and minus 2 were our eigenvalues, 5 and minus 2. So the first vector which you put here in P is corresponding to 5. And the second vector you put here is corresponding to minus 2. So that is why you are getting 5 and minus 2. If you put, because there is no restriction, if you put this vector first and this second, then you will get minus 2 and 5 here. Okay, so this is how everything works. That this is how you will just find out the eigenvalues first, and then you will find out the eigenvectors, and you will collect all the linearly independent eigenvectors, and then you will see if you get n linearly independent eigenvectors for a vector space of dimension n, then it means that your linear operator T is diagonalizable. Okay, so in the next video we are going to practice more examples for more clarity. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and